Deontay Wilder is a puppet who has very little control over his own career or who he actually fights. The only way that that statement isn't true is if Deontay Wilder has been scared of certain fighters like Vladimir Klitschko and Anthony Joshua in the past, and has therefore himself chosen to avoid them. It's either one or the other. It's either Wilder has been scared and has been literally himself ducking Klitschko and AJ, or he's a puppet who doesn't choose who he fights and has very little control over his career. It's one or the other. There's no other way out of it. Now, why do I say this? Well, let's go and look at Deontay Wilder's early career. Wilder fought absolute cream puffs, donuts, milkmen, cupcakes, road sweepers, etc. for his first 32 fights. Facts. In his 33rd fight, he finally decided to step up and face somebody with a pulse in Bermane Stiverne. Stiverne wasn't anything special, but he did hold the WBC belt at the time. Rather than target Klitschko, Wilder went for Bermane Stiverne, the softest option. Okay, this is 32 fights in. This was his 33rd fight. So why didn't Deontay Wilder target Klitschko? I mean, he had 32 fights to do it. Why did he target Stiverne instead? Is it because he was scared of Klitschko? Or was it because his management was scared of putting him in with Klitschko, so they chose the weaker option? You guys tell me. Then, after he beats Stiverne, his manager, Shelly Finkel, puts out this statement. He says Wilder will not be rushed into a Klitschko fight. He said Wilder's a baby. He's still basically a prospect. That's what Shelly Finkel said. So Shelly Finkel came out and was openly stating that they are going to keep Deontay Wilder away from Vladimir Klitschko. And this is a guy in Wilder who had 33 fights by this point. If you're 33 fights in, people, you're not a baby. So again, why didn't Deontay Wilder fight Klitschko after he beat Stiverne? Was it Wilder was scared, or was it his team was scared and therefore they were making the decisions in keeping him away from Klitschko? It's one or the other. Either Wilder's a controlled puppet or he was scared. Which is it? There is no other option. So then, after he beat Stiverne in 2015, he fought Molina, fought Duopa. 2016, the next year. At this time, I think, had Vladimir Klitschko lost? By this time, I think Klitschko lost in late 2015, didn't he? Let me just double check it. Let's see here. Yeah, Klitschko lost in late 2015. So by this time, Fury was champion by late 2015. Okay, so then, you know, it took Fury, who, by the way, when Fury fought Klitschko, how many fights was Fury in? It was Fury's 25th fight. So he fought Klitschko after 25 fights. But Deontay Wilder couldn't manage it even after 33 fights. The guy who's scared of nobody, the guy who is apparently independent and controls his own career, why didn't he do what Tyson Fury did and fight Klitschko? Huh? It would have been an easy fight to make. It was a unification. Why didn't he fight Klitschko? He had 33 fights, but then Tyson Fury had 24. So he didn't fight Klitschko then, continued to duck, either it was Wilder or his team keeping him away. Then we move into 2016. Well, he had the opportunity to fight Klitschko still after Tyson Fury got, banned and stripped of his belts. Klitschko was still out there angling for a fight. In fact, I remember at the time Klitschko expressed interest in fighting Deontay Wilder if he couldn't get the rematch with Tyson Fury. But still, Wilder and his team, they didn't want it. They didn't want the smoke from Klitschko, even after he'd lost to Fury. So in steps Anthony Joshua, and he fought Klitschko instead. And guess where Deontay Wilder was? Deontay Wilder was on the safe side of the ropes commentating. He wasn't in the ring, fighting either one of them. And this is the guy who is scared of nobody and only wants to fight the best and is in full control of his career. Okay, well, why didn't he fight Klitschko? He had so many opportunities to fight Klitschko. Years and years to challenge Klitschko. and years to unify with Klitschko or take on Klitschko as a challenger instead of AJ having to do that job. But no, Deontay Wilder was nowhere to be seen. He was at ringside commentating instead of in the ring. So then we move on to, once AJ beats Klitschko, AJ's got a lot of momentum behind him. He's filling out stadiums. He's having to deal with a tremendous amount of pressure, fighting in front of 80,000 and all that kind of stuff. He's the biggest cash cow in the heavyweight division. Deontay Wilder is just scratching around, rematching Berman Stavern, fighting people like Gerald Washington, a washed up Areola, Artur Spilka. This is what Wilder's doing during this time. Then he fights Luis Ortiz. The second time he actually fought somebody decent in his whole career. And by the time he fought Ortiz, how many fights was he in then? So that was his 40th fight. So it took Deontay Wilder 40 fights before he fought another, live opponent, really. 40 fights. Just AJ did all that in less than 20. It took Wilder 40. Anyway, he beats Ortiz, and then all of a sudden, his head gets gassed up like some kind of hot air balloon, some blimp. Wilder's head is gassed up from the Ortiz fight. Don't get it twisted. It was a good fight and it was a good win. A win which he got help from the officials in, by the way. When he was hurt at the end of one of the rounds, the doctor inexplicably came to check Deontay Wilder at the start of the next round. Not in between rounds, at the start of the next round to give him extra time to recover. Okay? If that's not somebody who's being protected and helped, I don't know what is. Now people will rightly point out that AJ has had such help in some of his fights, like against Carlos Takam and also against Joseph Parker. No doubt. But don't make out as though it's only AJ who gets that kind of preferential treatment from officials. It's also Deontay Wilder. Oh, yes, it is. And then we move on, of course, to the protracted back and forth negotiations between Wilder and Anthony Joshua. Ultimately, the last offer which was made was a $120 million free fight deal for Deontay Wilder to fight Anthony Joshua, okay? The first fight would be against Dominic Breazeale on DAZN, and then 2 fights with AJ. And the person who loses the first fight might choose not to have the rematch anyway, so potentially it was only a 2-fight deal. And on top of that, while it was openly stated that Wilder had the option to just do an AJ deal, never mind the Breazeale fight, just do the AJ fight, with a 2-way rematch clause, and that's it. So he wasn't being tied into some long-term contract that would go on for years and years. No, it was simply the AJ fight. That's all it was. And he was being offered basically 100 million or close to 100 million, best part of 100 million to fight AJ. Now, Deontay Wilder's never even seen a fraction of that kind of money. Deontay Wilder has never seen a fraction of the kind of money AJ's already made. So how on earth could you turn down a deal like that? What, are you crazy? You would have to be scared to death of Anthony Joshua to turn that deal down. If you're not scared to death, then you're not in control of your own career because it's your team who have turned it down for you. So it's one or the other. Which is it? Either Deontay Wilder was scared or he's not in control of his own career. And Al Heyman and Shelley Finkel are pulling his strings. Which one is it? Maybe it's a combination of both. That's the only other option. But those 2 things have to be included. One or the other has to be included or both. Either he's scared or was scared. Now he's getting brave because he saw AJ get ironed out by Ruiz. Now he's oh, no, I'll fight AJ now. Where was that energy when you were offered the 120 million? Turning that kind of money down? Are you mad? The only way you can turn that kind of money down is if there's an alternative out there. If there's another network offering you a deal which is just as lucrative or more lucrative, then you can turn that down and say, all right, I got a better deal over here or a similar deal. Fair enough. But there is no similar deal for Deontay Wilder. Relatively speaking, he's still scratching around making chicken change for fights. AJ just got wiped out by Ruiz and he's going to make way more in his next fight on December 7th than Wilder's going to make against Ortiz. Facts. So again, Wilder, either he's demented to turn down the 120 million. Scared, was scared, or he's not in control of his career. Finkel and Heyman didn't allow him to take the 120 million. It has to be one of those options. There's nothing else on the table, people. So all these people scrambling around saying AJ's controlled, he's a puppet, this, that, and the other. Look no further than Deontay Wilder if you want to look at a puppet. The guy's either scared or he's a puppet. There's no other way to explain the way his career has panned out to this point. No other way to explain it. When you look at everything as a whole, the fact that they didn't put him in with somebody with a pulse until he was 33 fights deep in his 33rd fight. Was that Wilder's choice? They kept him away from Klitschko for years. And by the way, he was in the Klitschko camp, sparring Klitschko, before Wilder became WBC champion. And apparently, Klitschko dropped him multiple times. I know Wilder tried to deny it, but there were witnesses. Andy Lee was there. Johnny Nelson was there. Many people were there, and they say Wilder hit the canvas multiple times. Well, all these people lying? And after that beating that he got from Klitschko in sparring, he stayed the hell away from that man. Or his team kept him the hell away from him. Because surely his team knew what went on there in that sparring session. Or those sparring sessions. So let's be real about Deontay Wilder. I rate Wilder as a fighter. But don't try to tell me that Wilder is the master of his own career. That he makes all his own decisions. Deontay Wilder was the absolute epitome of a guy with a padded record on the way up. Who is kept away. Protected. From real challenges. That's how Wilder's career's been for the most part. It's only in very recent fights that have actually let him off the leash and let him go in there against people that can actually do him some harm. So it's absurd to be, acting as though this guy is the man in the division and he's not scared of nobody. Well, if he's such a beast and if he's so confident, Wilder says that AJ has a weak mentality or a weak mindset. Well, Deontay, why did it take you 33 fights to fight somebody with a pulse? When AJ was fighting Klitschko in like his 18th fight or whatever it was, 19th fight, how come it took you like 33 fights before you'd even fight Stavern? Never mind Klitschko. You wouldn't even fight Klitschko at all in your whole career. And you had many opportunities to fight Klitschko. You didn't want to do it. Why? What's up with your mindset? Huh? AJ managed to do it in like his 18th fight. Fury managed to do it in his 25th fight. Yeah, Fury managed to fight Klitschko in his 25th fight. Deontay, where were you? Why weren't you fighting Klitschko? Man, this guy, he is something else. Let me know what you guys think in the comment section below. I'm just speaking facts here, people. If you can't handle the facts, you need to look in the mirror and, deal with yourself. It's happening, I'm out. Join me on Patreon. I upload a minimum of 2 podcasts every single week, covering a wide variety of controversial topics, as well as live stream Q&A sessions. Take a look on screen right now at some of the podcasts I've produced so far. For just $3 a month, the equivalent of about £2 a month, you get access to all my new podcasts and my entire back catalogue of past podcasts, including my popular Confessions of a Nightclub Bouncer series. You can listen on your computer or on your smartphone or tablet by downloading the Patreon app from the Google Play Store or the App Store for free. The Patreon app also allows you to download each podcast in MP3. For less than the price of a cup of coffee, you get access to dozens of hours of exclusive content. It's easy to sign up, there's no contract, and you can cancel at any time. So come and join our community of free and critical thinkers by signing up with me here on Patreon today.